In every age of power, influence, and ambition, one truth remains constant. Those who rise are never the strongest, the richest, or even the smartest. They are the ones who understand people. They know how to form bonds with those above them, how to move in rooms filled with influence, and how to turn conversations into opportunities. If you want to rise in life, you must understand the psychology of powerful people, because power does not exist in isolation. It lives inside people, and people only open their world to those who know how to approach them with intention, awareness, and strategic charm. When you enter a room full of influential individuals, you are not judged by what you say first. You are judged by how you carry yourself. Your posture, your gaze, the calmness in your breath. These subtle signals tell powerful people whether you are an equal or a servant. They respect confidence wrapped in silence far more than loud attempts to prove worth. Before you ever speak, your presence is speaking for you. So become the type of person whose presence introduces you before your words ever arrive. Move slowly, speak precisely, listen deeply, and let every motion reflect certainty. Connections with powerful people are built on value, but not the superficial value most people try to offer. Powerful individuals are surrounded by people who beg, people who flatter, people who drain energy. What they lack is someone who understands their burdens, their goals, their fears, and their ambitions. If you want access, become the person who reduces their mental load, not increases it. When they talk, give them sharp clarity through your listening. When they express problems, offer thoughtful insights, not desperate solutions. Your intelligence should be subtle, your presence effortless, your usefulness natural. They must feel lighter around you, not heavier. Never try too hard to impress influential people. The moment you try, you place yourself beneath them. Machiavelli knew that power is attracted to power, not desperation. You must cultivate an inner sense of self that is strong enough to remain calm in the presence of greatness. You don't bow emotionally, you don't become overwhelmed. You don't elevate them to a level that makes you small. Instead, you treat them as humans. Rare humans, yes, but still humans. And that is exactly why they will gravitate toward you. Everyone else wants something from them. You simply respect them without worshiping them. Powerful individuals value time more than anything because time is the one thing they can never buy back. If you want to connect with them, treat their time as precious. When you speak, speak with intention. Get to the point. Offer something meaningful. Don't drag conversations, don't over-explain your presence, and never try to secure closeness through useless details. Be concise, be sharp, and leave them wanting more. The longer you stay after the value ends, the quicker you become forgettable. Every powerful person has a circle, a network of people who guard them, advise them, support them, or sometimes exploit them. Instead of trying to break through the front door, pay attention to the circle around them. You build influence with the powerful by first building influence with those who influence them. Their assistants, their colleagues, their longtime friends often hold more practical importance than the person at the top. Treat these individuals with respect, patience, and genuine warmth. If they trust you, they will naturally pull you closer to the center of gravity. Never present yourself as competition. Powerful individuals protect themselves from threat. They will distance themselves from anyone who appears too ambitious in the wrong way. Your ambition should be evident, but not aggressive. It should be clear that you are rising, but your rise does not depend on stepping over them. Make your purpose bigger than personal gain. Talk in terms of vision, mission, and growth, not in terms of climbing over others. Powerful people align themselves with those who dream big but are grounded in strategy. One of the greatest abilities in social climbing is learning how to predict the emotional climate of the room. As you walk into a gathering, observe first. Who is trying to dominate? Who is being ignored? Who is subtly influencing decisions without speaking loudly? Who seems tired? Who seems defensive? Read the room like a strategist. Most people enter spaces trying to be seen. Wise individuals enter spaces trying to understand. Once you understand the energy, your moves will be more precise. You will speak at the right time, listen at the right moment, and position yourself where your presence becomes valuable, not intrusive. Silence is one of your greatest assets. Powerful people are used to being listened to, but rarely experience someone who listens with genuine depth. When you are silent, attentive, and slightly mysterious, you create a pull. Let them speak about their struggles, their victories, their ideas without interrupting. Ask the kind of questions that reveal thoughtfulness. Make them feel understood in a way they don't feel with others. When someone feels safe sharing their mind, they begin to trust you with their world. You must build yourself in such a way that powerful people recognize you as an investment. They will connect with someone who is already moving upward, someone hungry but disciplined, someone who works relentlessly but intelligently. Show them consistency. Show them stability. Show them that your character is not influenced by mood swings or external noise. Powerful people hate unpredictability. They want allies who are steady, reliable, capable, and emotionally controlled. Become that person, and opportunities will naturally flow toward you. Discretion is essential. Nothing destroys trust faster than loose speech. If someone in power shares something with you, treat it as if your silence determines your future. When you protect their words, they will increasingly trust you with more. The moment powerful people realize you cannot be broken by gossip or pressure, they see you as someone capable of handling bigger roles. Loyalty is rare, and rarity is valuable. When you finally build a connection, nurture it slowly. Never overwhelm it. Powerful relationships must mature like old wine, gradually, naturally, and with respect to time. Check in without being clingy, offer value without being transactional, show respect without losing authenticity. Give them space, yet remain consistent. A relationship built slowly lasts longer and rises higher than one rushed out of insecurity. And remember this final truth: the ultimate way to connect with powerful people is to become powerful yourself. Not necessarily through wealth or status, but through discipline, knowledge, psychological depth, and unwavering self-respect. When you master yourself, you naturally attract people of influence. When your actions reflect strength, clarity, and strategic intelligence, those above you will begin to see you not as someone seeking favors, but as someone worth aligning with. This is how you climb, not by begging or impressing, not by noise or flattery, but by silently becoming someone whose presence adds value, whose character commands respect, and whose mind understands the hidden architecture of power. When you transform yourself internally, doors open externally. When you carry yourself with controlled ambition, powerful people will not only notice you, they will invite you into their world as you continue rising. You must understand a truth few ever accept. Powerful people do not connect with everyone. They are selective not because they believe they are superior, but because their world is filled with risks, responsibilities, and constant pressure. Every new connection can be a threat, a distraction, or a burden. Clean appearance, calm voice, controlled expressions, they convey seriousness, discipline, and reliability. Powerful individuals look for signals that you can handle responsibility, pressure, and complexity. They look for people who are stable when others are emotional. Your demeanor is your resume long before your achievements are mentioned. As your connection grows, always underpromise and overdeliver. Offer little, deliver big. Meet deadlines early. Offer insights that save time or avoid mistakes. Provide solutions before problems fully emerge. When you consistently exceed expectations, trust builds naturally. You become associated with competence, and competence is magnetic. But never forget the rule of emotional neutrality. Do not get too excited when praised, and do not get discouraged when ignored. Power tests people. Sometimes silence is a test. Sometimes distance is a test. Sometimes unexpected pressure is a test. Respond with calmness every time. When your emotional state remains steady regardless of how you are treated, you show psychological strength. And strength is the universal language of the powerful. You must also learn the art of subtle positioning. Do not push yourself into conversations. Place yourself near opportunities. Listen more than you speak. Wait for moments where your insight can shift the direction of discussion. Only then contribute something sharp, brief, and impactful. The one who speaks less but says more always rises faster than the one who dominates the room. To truly connect with powerful individuals, avoid gossip at all costs. The moment you speak about someone behind their back, you signal danger. But when they see that you do not engage in petty conversations, they categorize you differently. You become someone safe, someone stable, someone who can be trusted in critical moments. Your silence in the wrong conversations becomes your identity in the right ones. And finally, always maintain your hunger. Not desperation, but hunger. Ambition keeps you sharp. Discipline keeps you rising. When people of influence sense that you are moving with purpose, they respect it. When they see effort without arrogance, they support it. When they see growth without noise, they want to be part of it. Your climb becomes inevitable not because you beg for opportunity, but because you embody the essence of someone who deserves opportunity. There will come a moment in your rise where you begin to notice a shift. The same people you once chased now begin to pay closer attention. The doors that once seemed sealed start to open slightly. But the biggest mistake people make at this stage is moving too fast. The moment you taste a little access, you must slow down even more. You must become even more calculated, more observant, more controlled. Real connections with powerful people grow through rhythm, not rush. They must see you consistently present, consistently reliable, and consistently growing without ever appearing needy or demanding. Your confidence must be quiet, not loud. Loud confidence is insecurity in disguise. Quiet confidence signals mastery. When you walk into a room of influence, do not try to dominate the energy. Let the energy come to you. Let your presence be felt before your words are heard. People trust those who do not fight for attention. When you hold your center, others naturally adjust around you. And powerful people are drawn to those who command a room without force. As you rise higher, you will encounter gatekeepers, people whose job is to protect the powerful from unnecessary interactions. Most individuals treat gatekeepers as obstacles. The wise treat them as opportunities. If you respect them, if you show kindness, if you learn their rhythm, they will open pathways others never see. Powerful people trust the judgment of the ones closest to them. If the gatekeeper likes you, they speak on your behalf when you are not there. In the world of influence, a single sentence from the right person can elevate you more than years of effort. Be very intentional with your emotional presence. Powerful individuals connect with those who give their mind space to breathe. If you bring chaos, insecurity, or emotional instability into their orbit, you push them away. But if you bring calmness, clarity, and emotional maturity, you become a rare presence. Something refreshing in a world filled with pressure. Your energy must be grounding. Let your tone be steady, your reactions controlled, your patience strong, your calmness becomes your advantage. Every influential person appreciates subtle intelligence. Not the kind that tries to prove itself, but the kind that reveals itself naturally through insight, timing, and self-restraint. When you speak, speak in a way that lifts the conversation. Mention ideas that spark curiosity, not arguments. Share perspectives that add depth, not noise. Your intelligence should feel like a quiet revelation, not an announcement. Smart people overwhelm. Wise people illuminate. As your relationship deepens, understand the balance between visibility and scarcity. Too much presence makes you ordinary. Too little presence makes you forgettable. Appear strategically. Engage intentionally. Your value must be felt, but your absence must also be noticed. Powerful individuals appreciate relationships that feel meaningful, not forced. And scarcity, when used with purpose, turns attention into magnetism. Over time, you will realize that powerful people connect best with those who have mastered themselves. They respect the individual who has conquered their impulses, tamed their anger, controlled their ego, and strengthened their discipline. Such a person is predictable in the ways that matter and unpredictable in the ways that intrigue. They are stable yet mysterious, calm yet ambitious, humble yet confident. This duality attracts influence because it signals balance, a rare quality in a world driven by extremes. You must learn the subtle language of body cues. The slight shift of their eyes, the change in their breathing, the softening of their shoulders, these reveal far more than their words. Powerful individuals are trained to hide emotion, but their bodies still speak. When you can read these signals, you gain access to truths that others miss. And when you respond with precision, knowing when to speak, when to pause, when to stay silent, your presence becomes deeply aligned with theirs. Authenticity is your long-term weapon. Many can fake charm for minutes. Few can maintain character for years. The powerful value those who remain consistent through stress, failure, success, and fatigue. They watch how you treat people who can offer you nothing. They observe how you handle small tasks before trusting you with bigger responsibilities. They notice whether your actions match your words. Over time, authenticity will outshine any crafted persona. What is real endures. What is fake collapses under pressure. There will be times where envy surrounds you. Not from the powerful, but from those who cannot understand your rise. People will question your motives, misunderstand your silence, or mistrust your intentions. You must remain unshaken. The path of influence is rarely understood by the average mind. When you build connections at high levels, you must be prepared for criticism from low levels. The greatest strategy is to stay focused, stay calm, and allow results to respond for you. Your ascension must always be tied to your personal code. Know your values, know what you stand for, know the lines you will never cross. Influence gained without integrity collapses quickly. Influence built on character becomes unbreakable. When powerful people realize that you can be trusted even in positions of temptation, they elevate you without hesitation. Trust is the currency of influence, and integrity is the bank that holds it. And above all, remember that your ultimate goal is not to simply connect with powerful people. It is to become someone powerful yourself, not by imitating them, but by refining yourself into someone whose presence naturally commands respect. The greatest connections are formed not by reaching upward, but by rising inward. When you elevate your mind, your discipline, your emotional strength, and your strategy, your circle will naturally begin to reflect the power you carry. As you continue to rise, you will notice that the world of the powerful operates on a different timeline. Their decisions are long-term. Their relationships are strategic. Their conversations are sharper, deeper, more focused. If you want to remain in their orbit, you must elevate the way you think. Surface-level talk drains them. Drama repels them. Complaints push them away instantly. What attracts them is someone who brings perspective, someone who can take a complex situation and simplify it, someone who can cut through the fog and deliver clarity. To connect deeply, you must learn the art of controlled vulnerability, not the kind that exposes your weaknesses to everyone, but the kind that shows self-awareness, the willingness to reflect, to grow, to improve. When you speak about your challenges with composure, you show maturity. When you speak about your ambitions without arrogance, you show promise. When you speak about your growth with humility, you show character. Powerful people are drawn to those who can be honest without being fragile. One of the greatest secrets in forming elite connections is patience. Many people destroy opportunities by rushing the relationship before it has roots. They ask for favors too soon. They expect mentorship before they've earned trust. They want closeness before they've built value. Impatience signals immaturity. The powerful value those who allow relationships to evolve naturally. You must learn to endure the slow pace of real influence. Trust builds gradually, like a flame growing from a spark. If you force it, you extinguish it. Control your reactions. You will encounter moments where someone influential challenges you, disagrees with you, or even tests you deliberately. Do not panic. Do not take it personally. The powerful observe everything: your tone, your composure, your ability to stay respectful while staying firm. If they see that pressure cannot shake you, they elevate their respect. If they see that disagreement does not break you, they deepen the connection. Learn to be comfortable with silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is a signal, the insecure rush to fill silence. The wise use silence to reveal truth. In conversations with powerful people, silence allows them to think, reflect, or speak further. When you remain comfortable in those quiet moments, you show depth. Silence becomes your negotiation tool, your communication advantage, your psychological anchor. As you grow closer to individuals of influence, remember that curiosity is more powerful than brilliance. Ask thoughtful questions, not the obvious ones that everyone repeats, but the kind that reveal deeper understanding. Ask about their principles, not just their achievements. Ask about their failures, not just their victories. Ask about what shaped them, not just what rewarded them. People in positions of power rarely encounter individuals genuinely interested in their inner world. When you show that interest with elegance, you create a bond few can replicate. Another principle is emotional independence. Your happiness, your confidence, your momentum must not depend on their approval. The moment someone senses you rely on them for your self-worth, you lose your value. You become dependent instead of equal. Your life must continue with or without their attention. Your goals must progress even when they are absent. Emotional independence is what makes powerful people feel comfortable giving you access. They know you will not crumble, cling, or collapse under the weight of the relationship. You must become the kind of person who rises through competence. Do your work with excellence, even when no one is watching. Execute tasks with precision. Deliver results that exceed expectations. When you consistently show discipline and effort, powerful people take notice. They value those who follow through, those who don't make excuses, those who treat every responsibility, big or small, with seriousness. Consistency builds your reputation, and your reputation opens doors before you knock. As you move deeper into circles of influence, you will realize that the powerful connect most with those who understand subtle boundaries. Know when to speak and when not to. Know when to stay and when to leave. Know when to ask and when to remain silent. You must never overstep. You must never assume intimacy. You must never take access for granted. Boundaries show respect, and respect builds longevity. Every connection you make must be protected. Never exploit your association with powerful people. Never boast about them. Never use their name for validation. The moment you turn the relationship into a trophy, you lose it. Influence grows in silence. The most powerful alliances are the quietest. When you protect the relationship from noise, envy, and unnecessary exposure, it matures more naturally and more deeply. Over time, you will learn that connecting with powerful individuals is not about entering their world. It is about becoming someone whose world they want to enter. Build your own foundation, develop your own network, strengthen your skills, sharpen your mind. When they see you as someone rising through your own merit, not riding their shadow, you gain their respect. They want to associate with people who elevate themselves, not people who depend on proximity to mimic importance. And as your circle grows, stay grounded. Power becomes dangerous when it feeds your ego. You must remain aware of the journey that brought you here, the discipline, the humility, the patience. The more influence you gain, the more disciplined you must become. Let your character deepen instead of your arrogance. Let your wisdom grow instead of your pride. The rise to influence is not difficult. The challenge is staying true to yourself once you arrive. As your journey advances, you will discover that every powerful person operates behind multiple layers. What you see publicly is only a fraction of their true identity. Their real thoughts, their real struggles, their real ambitions, these are hidden beneath the surface, protected by years of experience, caution, and scars. If you want to connect with them on a deeper level, you must learn to see beyond what is shown. Look for what is not said. Listen for what is implied. Watch for the pauses, the hesitations, the subtle changes in tone. These quiet signals reveal far more than grand declarations ever will. Influential people appreciate those who understand nuance. Many individuals speak in extremes, too emotional, too direct, too passive, too aggressive. But those who master nuance communicate with balance. They know when to soften their presence and when to sharpen. They know how to persuade without force, how to disagree without conflict, how to advise without dominating. Nuance is the language of the elite, and when you speak it fluently, doors open that brute confidence could never unlock. As you build stronger relationships, remember that you must always protect your inner world. Never reveal everything at once. Your ambitions, your plans, your weaknesses, your strategies, these must remain guarded. Share selectively, intentionally, and only when necessary. A person who reveals too much becomes predictable, and predictability dulls influence. Let people see your strength, not your entire structure. Let them witness your movement, not your entire map. Mystery is not manipulation. Mystery is protection. One skill that will elevate you above many is emotional neutrality. Not coldness, not indifference, but controlled emotion. When someone criticizes you, respond with calm curiosity. When someone praises you, accept it with humility. When someone challenges you, engage with logic, not ego. Emotional neutrality makes you unshakable. It shows that you operate from internal grounding rather than external triggers. And powerful individuals trust those who do not crumble under emotion because such people can be relied upon when stakes are high. As you begin interacting more frequently with influential people, shift your mindset from a what can I gain to what can I contribute. Contribution is the root of influence, but contribution does not always mean giving solutions. Sometimes the greatest contribution is perspective. Sometimes it is stability. Sometimes it is a single sentence that shifts someone's thinking. The powerful value those who elevate their clarity, not those who overcomplicate their world. Be the person whose presence improves the quality of their decisions. At times, you must learn to create distance without disconnecting. Distance shows strength. Distance shows confidence. Distance shows that you respect your own time, your own goals, your own journey. When you occasionally pull back, you remind others of your independence. They begin to see you not as someone orbiting their world, but someone who has a world of their own. Distance creates respect. Clinging creates fatigue. Another truth you must understand is that influence grows in private long before it becomes visible in public. Your habits, your routines, your discipline, your mindset, these form the foundation that powerful people notice. They can sense whether you are consistent or chaotic, whether you operate with intention or impulse. Every day that you work silently on yourself, you sharpen the aura that speaks for you before you ever enter a room. As your presence grows, you must master the art of controlled intensity. Your words must carry weight. Your movements must have purpose. Your decisions must reflect clarity. People notice when someone operates with internal fire but external calm. It creates a magnetic energy, one that signals ambition without boasting, strength without aggression, focus without noise. You rise inward so you can rise outward, and even then the journey never ends. Because influence is not a destination, it is a state of constant refinement. Every interaction, every decision, every moment either strengthens or weakens your presence. Machiavelli's name is often connected with power, influence, and understanding human nature. People today use his ideas the wrong way, as if relationships are a game of control. But the truth is far deeper. Real attraction, real connection, and real love do not come from tricks or manipulation. They grow from character, confidence, emotional strength, and the way you carry yourself. When you understand this, you no longer chase approval. People start gravitating toward you on their own. There is a reason certain men walk into a room and instantly command attention without saying a word. It is not because they are loud or aggressive. It is because they have mastered themselves. They understand their emotions. They do not react out of fear, and they do not let circumstances shake their center. When a man reaches this level of inner stability, he becomes magnetic. Women sense emotional stability in the same way a compass senses the north. It feels safe, steady, and rare. And people always move toward what feels rare. You can never force someone to want you. You can only become the kind of person they genuinely desire. And this begins with the way you value yourself. When you stop begging for attention, when you no longer feel the need to be chosen, you suddenly become the one who is chosen. A man who is complete within himself automatically becomes attractive because he doesn't display the hunger that pushes people away. He carries a quiet confidence, the kind that says, "I'm good with you and I'm good without you." That is the energy that pulls people closer. Attraction is not about what you say, it's about what you project. If your energy is desperate, you push people away. If your energy is grounded, they are drawn in. You cannot fake inner confidence. You cannot pretend strength. These qualities are born from self-respect, discipline, and the ability to walk away from anything that threatens your peace. When a man demonstrates that he can control himself, he influences others without even trying. Machiavelli would say, "Power belongs to the one who needs nothing." Women do not fall for men who chase endlessly. They fall for men who have purpose, vision, and direction. Not because of money or status, but because a man with direction cannot be lost in others. He has goals. He has a mission. He wakes up with intention. A man like this becomes a force. He becomes someone a partner can trust, respect, and look up to. And when a woman feels admiration, desire naturally follows. Attraction is not built on words, it is built on lifestyle. Another powerful truth is that mystery strengthens desire, not secrecy, not games, but depth. When you reveal everything about yourself too quickly, you remove all excitement. Humans value what takes time to understand. You must allow your personality to unfold slowly, naturally, with richness and depth. When a woman feels there is more to learn about you, the connection becomes stronger. This is not manipulation, it is emotional maturity. People bond slowly and meaningfully with those who don't overwhelm them with intensity. Space is another element of attraction that many men ignore. Constant availability kills desire. Relationships need oxygen. They need time apart to allow feelings to grow. If you make yourself too accessible, you lose your value. A man who has a full life, friends, goals, fitness, creativity, work, naturally provides that space. And that space increases desire. Machiavelli teaches that influence comes not from force, but from allowing others the freedom to choose you. When a woman feels she can breathe around you, she wants to stay close. Women are not attracted to dominance. They are attracted to self-dominance. A man who controls his impulses, his emotions, and his reactions becomes incredibly powerful in any relationship. When she becomes emotional, he stays centered. When she tests his patience, he stays calm. When life becomes chaotic, he becomes the rock. This stability creates a feeling inside a woman that is stronger than excitement. It creates trust, admiration, and emotional safety. These feelings turn into deep desire. Modern society teaches men to impress, but real power comes from inspiring. Impressing is temporary. Inspiring is magnetic. When you elevate your communication, improve your lifestyle, show honesty, stand on your boundaries, and treat people with respect, you become the kind of man a woman doesn't want to lose. Women crave emotional intelligence more than perfection. They want a man who listens, understands without judgment, leads without controlling, and loves without losing himself. The greatest hidden truth is that attraction begins inside you. When you grow, everything in your life grows with you. When you raise your standards, your relationships rise to match them. When you respect yourself, others cannot treat you any lower. Your confidence becomes effortless. Your presence becomes powerful. Your words carry weight. And your energy becomes something people feel the moment you walk into a room. Women do not beg for men who chase them. They beg for men who choose themselves first. Men who know their worth. Men who speak less and act more. Men who hold boundaries. Men who walk away when they must. Men who stay soft but strong, calm but confident, kind but firm, loving but not blind. A man who becomes this version of himself never needs to manipulate desire. His presence creates it. In the end, these so-called hidden rules are not about controlling anyone. They are about mastering yourself. When you master yourself, the world responds to you differently. People respect you more. Women feel drawn to you on a level they don't even fully understand. Love becomes effortless because you are no longer chasing it. You are becoming someone it naturally flows toward. And that is the deepest truth Machiavelli ever pointed to. The one who holds power is the one who has conquered himself. There is a moment in every man's life when he realizes something important. That the world does not reward those who shout the loudest, beg the hardest, or chase the fastest. The world rewards those who understand themselves. A man who knows who he is becomes impossible to ignore. His silence speaks louder than other people's noise. His calmness feels stronger than someone else's aggression. When you reach this stage, you don't go after love. Love starts coming after you. And that shift begins with one thing: self-control. If a man cannot control his emotions will control his life. His anger will destroy opportunities. His insecurities will push people away. His fear will block connections. But once he takes ownership of his emotional world, everything starts to change. He stops reacting. He starts responding. He begins to move with intention instead of impulse. This emotional discipline makes him unmistakably attractive because it is extremely rare in today's world. A man who can stay calm is a man others feel safe around. Safety is the deepest form of attraction. Women do not fall in love with chaos. They fall in love with certainty. When she sees that you can handle life, she begins to trust you. When she realizes you don't break under pressure, she begins to admire you. When she feels that her emotions don't scare you, she begins to open up. And once she opens her heart, everything changes. But for her to reach that level of openness, you must first reach a level of maturity. Maturity is not about age. It is about awareness. It is about understanding that every action creates a consequence, every word creates an impression, and every reaction tells a story. When a man becomes aware of how he shows up in the world, he suddenly becomes responsible for himself. He stops blaming circumstances. He stops blaming others. He becomes the author of his own life. This responsibility makes him powerful because people can feel when a man is in control of his destiny. Women are naturally drawn to men who are leaders in their own life, not leaders over others, leaders over themselves. Leadership is not dominance. It is direction. It is clarity. It is the ability to say, I know where I'm going. You're welcome to walk with me, but I won't stop moving. That kind of man becomes irresistible because purpose is magnetic. When you have something meaningful to chase, you stop chasing people. And when you stop chasing people, the right people start following you. One of the biggest mistakes men make is giving away their power too quickly. They throw their attention, their time, and their emotions at someone who hasn't yet earned them. This creates imbalance. The woman feels pressured. The man feels ignored. Attraction dies. But when a man values himself, he does not offer everything at once. He lets connection unfold naturally. He gives his presence selectively. He allows the relationship to breathe. And by doing this, he becomes more desirable, not less. Because value increases when it is not given to everyone. Another truth is that a man's energy sets the tone of every interaction he has. If he is insecure, he will create doubt. If he is needy, he will create distance. If he is unstable, he will create tension. But if he is grounded, he creates peace. If he is confident, he creates trust. If he is intentional, he creates desire. Energy is not visible, but it is always felt. And the more you purify your energy by improving your mind, your habits, your discipline, the more powerful your presence becomes. Presence is a silent force. It is not about being loud, extroverted, or flashy. It is about the quiet intensity that surrounds you when you know who you are. A man with presence doesn't need validation. He doesn't need to prove himself. He doesn't need to perform. He simply exists with strength. And that strength turns into attraction. Women feel it instantly, even before they consciously understand it. A man's presence can make a woman feel protected, understood, and drawn in, all without a single word spoken. But presence requires solitude. A man becomes strong when he spends time alone, when he reflects, when he builds himself, when he confronts his weaknesses, and when he refines his character. Solitude sharpens a man. It allows him to discover his purpose. It allows him to master his emotions. It teaches him how to function without constant approval. When a man learns to be alone without feeling lonely, he becomes unstoppable. Because he no longer fears losing anyone. He only focuses on becoming someone worth keeping. In relationships, the most powerful man is not the one who controls his partner. It is the one who controls the pace of the connection. Not by playing games, but by maintaining standards, by not accepting disrespect, by not tolerating inconsistency, by not rewarding bad behavior, by walking away when needed. Strength is not in holding on. Strength is in knowing when to let go. And when a woman sees that you are willing to walk away, she realizes that your love is a choice, not a dependency. This makes your presence more valuable. Women are instinctively attracted to men who respect themselves. Because self-respect shows that you have boundaries. Boundaries show that you have discipline. Discipline shows that you have direction. Direction shows that you have ambition. And ambition shows that you have a future. A woman doesn't fall for a man's charm. She falls for his potential. She falls for the journey he is on. She falls for the world he is building. She falls for the man he is becoming. And the most fascinating truth is that desire grows strongest in the space between two people. Not in the closeness, but in the distance. Not in the constant conversations, but in the silence. Not in availability, but in unpredictability. When you live a full life, your attention becomes precious. Your time becomes meaningful. Your presence becomes something she looks forward to, not something she gets tired of. Desire grows when she feels that being with you enriches her life, not that you are depending on her to complete yours. A powerful man does not chase emotions. He creates emotional experiences. He doesn't give empty compliments. He gives meaningful connection. He doesn't rush intimacy. He deepens understanding. He doesn't demand loyalty. He inspires it. He doesn't try to impress. He tries to evolve. And evolution is the strongest aphrodisiac, because nothing is more attractive than a man who keeps becoming better. The truth is simple. You don't make someone beg for you by trying to convince them. You make them beg for you by becoming unforgettable, by being a man with depth, character, purpose, confidence, consistency, emotional strength, and self-respect. When you become this person, you don't need to manipulate anyone. You don't need tactics, tricks, or strategies. Ooh. You become the kind of man a woman feels lucky to have, the kind of man she doesn't want to lose, the kind of man she thinks about even in silence. When you master yourself, you master attraction, because attraction begins in the mind, grows in the heart, and is maintained by the soul. And when you align all three, you become a man who doesn't chase. He chooses, a man who doesn't plead. He attracts, a man who doesn't break. He bends, a man who doesn't dominate. He leads, a man who doesn't manipulate. He inspires. There comes a time when a man realizes that the world mirrors him. Whatever energy he sends out, it returns to him multiplied. If he moves with fear, follows him. If he carries insecurity, insecurity shapes his relationships. But when he walks with confidence, confidence surrounds him. When he leads with calmness, calmness becomes his environment. When he lives with purpose, purpose pulls him forward like gravity. And when he lives with dignity, people treat him with dignity. This is the invisible law of human attraction. Your external world becomes a reflection of your internal state. Every man must understand this profound truth. Women do not fall in love with you first. They fall in love with how they feel around you. Your presence either brings peace or it brings chaos. Your energy either creates certainty or confusion. Your words either build trust or create doubt. And your silence. Yes. Even your silence either feels safe or feels threatening. When a man becomes aware of this, he stops trying to impress and starts trying to improve. Because once you improve yourself, you no longer need strategies. A woman can sense the difference between a man who is pretending to be confident and a man who is confident. One uses loudness as armor. The other uses silence as strength. One tries to prove himself. The other simply becomes himself. You cannot fake real masculinity. Yes, real masculinity is not about dominance, aggression, or ego. It is about direction, restraint, presence, and responsibility. It is the force that says, I will protect what matters. I will remain calm in the storm. I will choose discipline over desire. I will not be moved by instability. This is the kind of masculinity that a woman feels, even before she understands it. And this same masculinity is not rigid or cold. It understands emotion deeply. It listens. It observes. It responds with intention, not with impulse. A strong man does not run from emotions. He masters them. He does not ignore feelings. He understands them. He doesn't explode. He expresses. Emotional intelligence is not softness. It is power. It is the power to keep your heart open while keeping your standards high. The power to be gentle without being weak. The power to care without losing yourself. The power to love without becoming blind. Most men today confuse attention with affection. They think the more they give, the more they will receive. But in reality, the more you give without measure, the faster you lose your value. Women do not desire endless attention. They desire meaningful attention. Presence has more weight than quantity. A single moment of focused presence is more attractive than 1,000 messages sent out of insecurity. A single thoughtful gesture is more powerful than constant availability. A single moment of emotional honesty is more impactful than hours of fake charm. A man becomes irresistibly attractive when he learns the art of pacing, when he knows when to speak and when to remain silent, when to give and when to hold back, when to move closer and when to step back. Not out of manipulation, but out of emotional intelligence. Relationships are like music. They require rhythm. Too fast and it becomes noise. Too slow and it becomes dull. But when you connect with rhythm, the relationship becomes harmony. And harmony is what creates. Another truth is often misunderstood. Women are not drawn to perfect men. They are drawn to progressing men. Men who grow. Men who evolve. Men who face their weaknesses instead of hiding them. Men who build their life instead of complaining about it. Men who rise after every fall. Perfection is intimidating, but progress is inspiring. A woman feels safe with a man who is committed to becoming better because she knows that his growth will carry the relationship forward. When she sees you working on yourself, not for her, but for your own integrity, she starts to believe in you, sometimes even more than you believe in yourself. But growth requires sacrifice. You cannot become the man you want to be while holding on to the habits that are destroying you. You cannot rise while clinging to the things keeping you low. Every strong man has let go of something, an addiction, a distraction, a comfort, a fear, a toxic relationship, a version of himself that no longer served his future. Strength is not built in the moment of victory, it is built in the moment of surrender. When you give up the things that are killing your potential, a woman can sense that strength. She can feel when you are a man who chooses growth over pleasure, intention over impulse, purpose over distraction. The deeper truth is that a woman's desire is awakened not by the man she sees in front of her, but by the man she believes he will become. If she sees depth in your eyes, she opens. If she sees purpose in your actions, she trusts. If she sees integrity in your choices, she respects. If she sees strength in your silence, she admires. And if she sees mystery in your character, she desires. But if she sees weakness you refuse to fix, she doubts. If she sees insecurity you refuse to confront, she disconnects. If she sees you abandoning yourself, she loses attraction. A man must learn to protect his value, protect it from overgiving, protect it from disrespect, protect it from emotional dependence, protect it from people who don't appreciate it. A man who protects his value becomes priceless, and people crave what is priceless. Women crave a man who knows he is worth something, because a man who values himself will value those around him with the same intensity. A man who has standards for himself will naturally have standards for the relationship. Standards are not walls, they are invitations to rise. And when a woman feels that your standards elevate her, she sees you as a man worth fighting for. But remember this. You cannot ask someone to give you what you don't give yourself. You cannot demand loyalty if you are not loyal to your purpose. You cannot ask for respect if you disrespect your own potential. You cannot expect consistency if you are inconsistent with your habits. You cannot expect admiration if you refuse to grow. Everything you want from others, you must first give to yourself. Because people follow the example you set, not the words you speak. And the most powerful truth of all, the man you become determines the love you receive. When you embody strength, you receive trust. When you embody honesty, you receive loyalty. When you embody confidence, you receive admiration. When you embody peace, you receive love. When you embody purpose, you receive connection. But when you embody insecurity, you receive doubt. When you embody chaos, you receive distance. When you embody desperation, you receive rejection. The universe, women, and life itself all respond to one thing, who you are, and when you elevate who you are, everything around you elevates with you. That is why the greatest power you will ever hold is the power to transform yourself. When you master your emotions, your presence becomes irresistible. When you master your mind, your decisions become powerful. When you master your purpose, your life becomes meaningful. And when you master your character, your relationships become profound. A man who reaches this level of self-mastery does not need to make anyone beg for him. People choose him. Women desire him. Life respects him because he is not chasing anything. He is becoming everything. Every man eventually discovers a truth he cannot escape. The world does not give him what he wants. The world gives him what he becomes. Women do not respond to his intentions. They respond to his energy. Life does not reward his wishes. It rewards his discipline. And love does not grow from desire alone. It grows from the character behind the desire. This realization marks the beginning of a man's transformation. There is a strength that comes from knowing who you are, and an even greater strength that comes from knowing who you refuse to be. A man becomes powerful when he stops trying to fit into the expectations of others and starts aligning himself with the vision he holds inside. That alignment creates clarity, and clarity creates authority. You speak differently, you walk differently, you choose differently. And people feel that difference. A woman especially feels it. She can sense when a man is living according to his truth. It gives him a stability that is rare, a confidence that is not loud but deeply rooted. Authenticity is irresistible because it cannot be copied. You can imitate confidence, you can imitate charm, you can imitate masculinity, but authenticity is born from the battles you fought, the lessons you've learned, the pain you've endured, and the courage you've gained. When you live authentically, you do not fear judgment. You do not fear rejection. Oh, you do not fear loss. You only fear one thing, betraying yourself. And a man who refuses to betray himself becomes unforgettable. People often believe that attraction is built on looks or words, but true attraction is built on emotional experience. A woman remembers how you make her feel long after she forgets what you said. She feels the difference between attention given out of loneliness and attention given out of intention. She feels the difference between love that is desperate and love that is deliberate. Oh. When your presence brings comfort, when your words bring clarity, when your silence brings safety, you become the man her heart recognizes even before her mind understands. One of the most powerful forces a man can develop is emotional independence. The ability to feel deeply without becoming dependent. The ability to care without collapsing. The ability to love without losing balance. Emotional independence does not mean detachment. It means stability. It means that no matter who enters or leaves your life, your inner world remains standing. When a man reaches this level, he becomes unshakable. Women admire him because he does not rely on them for emotional survival. He chooses them, but he does not cling to them. He values the connection, but he does not lose himself inside it. A man who knows how to stand alone will never be afraid of being left. And when fear disappears, authenticity appears. When authenticity appears, connection deepens. And when connection deepens, attraction intensifies. This is why emotional independence is powerful. It removes the neediness that kills desire. Neediness chases. Confidence attracts. A man who can walk away is the man a woman wants to chase. Strength is not just physical, it is emotional resilience. Every man will face heartbreak, disappointment, betrayal, failure, or rejection. These experiences are not weaknesses but rites of passage. They shape the masculine spirit. They carve depth into your character. They teach you limits, boundaries, and the true meaning of self-respect. Pain, when embraced, becomes power. And the man who acknowledges his pain without being owned by it becomes emotionally legendary. A woman desires a man who has faced himself, a man who has confronted his fears, acknowledged his mistakes, forgiven his past, and risen from. Such a man carries a calmness that cannot be manufactured. He becomes a sanctuary, not a storm. Women can sense wounds that haven't been healed, and they can sense men who refuse to heal them. They also sense men who have healed and evolved. Because these men move differently. They speak with quiet honesty. They love with intention. They connect without fear. They carry wisdom instead of insecurity. And wisdom is one of the most attractive traits a man can possess. Not intellectual wisdom alone, but emotional wisdom. The ability to understand people, to see beyond words, to read between the lines, to interpret silence, to comfort without controlling, to guide without dominating. Emotional wisdom transforms a man from someone who simply attracts women into someone who inspires them. But wisdom requires understanding one more truth. Not every woman deserves your energy. A man must learn the power of selective investment. When you give your time, attention, love, and effort to someone who does not appreciate it, you drain your own soul. But when you give it to someone who values it, it becomes nourishment. Energy is precious. A man who honors his energy becomes precious too. A woman respects a man who chooses carefully because it shows that he values himself enough to walk away from anything less than alignment. A man's worth increases when he refuses to settle. When he stops chasing temporary pleasure and starts investing in meaningful connection. When he stops seeking validation and starts seeking growth. When he stops trying to impress and starts trying to express. When he stops clinging to comfort and starts embracing challenge, women are naturally drawn to men who push themselves. Because growth is masculine, evolution is masculine. Purpose is masculine. And a man who embodies these things becomes naturally desirable. Another essential truth is that mystery makes desire stronger. Not because you hide yourself, but because you reveal yourself slowly and intentionally. When your life has depth, goals, passions, values, stories, ambitions, there is always something new for a woman to discover about you. This creates ongoing attraction. A man with depth becomes a never-ending book. Every chapter she reads makes her want to read the next. Mystery is not manipulation. It is the natural result of a life that is full, and richness does not refer to wealth alone. It is richness of mind, of soul, of habits, of discipline, of experiences. It is richness of character. A man with a rich inner life becomes interesting. He becomes magnetic without effort. Conversation with him feels meaningful. Time with him feels purposeful. Presence with him feels warm, and warmth is the root of emotional intimacy. As a man continues evolving, he learns something extremely important. He does not need to be perfect, he just needs to be present. Present in mind, present in heart, present in attention. Presence is the rarest gift in modern relationships. Most people are physically present but mentally absent. A man who truly shows up, listens deeply, and understands without judgment becomes priceless. A woman opens to a man she feels heard by. She trusts a man she feels understood by. And she loves a man she feels safe with. Safety is created not through dominance but through consistency. Consistency in words, consistency in actions, consistency in character. Consistency is the ultimate proof of masculinity because it requires discipline. It requires patience. It requires self-control. A woman respects a man who shows up the same way he promises. And when respect grows, desire follows naturally. And finally, a man must understand that he attracts what he aligns with. If he is aligned with insecurity, he attracts chaos. If he is aligned with fear, he attracts instability. But if he aligns with purpose, he attracts loyalty. If he aligns with strength, he attracts trust. If he aligns with love, he attracts connection. Attraction is not luck, it is alignment. And when you elevate your alignment, you elevate your entire life. A man who masters himself does not need to make anyone beg for him. His presence becomes a privilege. His love becomes a blessing. His energy becomes addictive. He doesn't chase. He chooses. He doesn't demand. He inspires. He doesn't manipulate. He leads. He doesn't break. He bends. He doesn't fade. He rises. And a man who rises becomes the kind of man women desire, respect, and remember forever. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must decide what kind of presence he wants to have in this world. Not just in relationships, but in his purpose, his vision, his sense of identity. Most men drift. They move with the wind, influenced by every opinion, every emotion, every temporary desire. But the men who truly attract deep admiration, the men women are magnetically drawn to, are the ones who live with intention. Not rigid, not controlling, but intentional. They walk as if they know where they're going, even when the path is unclear. That sense of inner direction changes everything. A man with intention does not cling to people. He does not chase validation. He does not compromise his worth. Instead, he allows life to unfold while he stays rooted in his values. Women feel this like a frequency. Silent, but powerful. When a woman meets a man who has discipline, structure, and emotional balance, she feels something she rarely feels. Respect. And from respect grows attraction, from attraction grows desire, and from desire comes devotion. But devotion cannot be demanded. It emerges naturally when a man stands strong within his own identity. You see, most men try to win women through performance. They try to entertain, impress, or prove something. But the truth is, the more you try to prove, the more you reveal your insecurity. A man who knows his worth does not perform. He expresses himself effortlessly. He does not fear judgment because he does not depend on approval. That freedom makes him irresistible. Women gravitate toward men who are comfortable with themselves because it makes them feel comfortable too. There is also something deeply attractive about a man who understands silence. Most people rush to fill silence because they are uncomfortable with it. But a man who can sit in silence without anxiety communicates strength without words. Silence reveals confidence. It communicates patience, control, and presence. It shows that you do not need constant validation to feel secure. A man who can sit with silence is a man who owns himself. And that ownership draws people in like gravity. Another powerful truth is that attraction deepens when a man is unpredictable in the right way. Not inconsistent, not confusing, but multidimensional. When you have depth, when you can be strong yet gentle, serious yet playful, logical yet emotional, masculine yet compassionate, you become impossible to categorize, and anything that cannot be easily defined becomes endlessly intriguing. Women desire men who make them feel something different every day, not through manipulation, but through genuine layers of personality. But to develop this kind of depth, you must embrace the parts of you that you hide. Society teaches men to suppress their emotions, their sensitivity, their creativity, their softness. But the strongest men are the ones who integrate these qualities without losing their edge. A man who can express emotion without collapsing into it becomes emotionally magnetic. A man who can be vulnerable without needing approval becomes incredibly attractive. Women admire men who feel deeply but stand tall through those feelings. That is where real masculine strength is born. There is also something timeless about a man who is not rushed. Patience is a rare form of confidence. When you are patient with life, with relationships, with your goals, you show that you trust yourself and your journey. You are not desperate for immediate results. You are not chasing constant reassurance. You move at your own pace. This calm energy is extremely attractive. Women feel safe when a man is patient because it shows he is not driven by insecurity or impulsive emotions. Another important part of attraction is how you handle challenges. Every relationship will face tension, misunderstandings, disagreements. Most men lose their power in conflict. They become emotional, reactive, defensive. But the man who remains composed during conflict becomes unforgettable. When she becomes emotional and you stay calm, not detached but steady, she feels protected. When she expresses frustration and you respond with clarity instead of chaos, she feels understood. When she tests your boundaries and you respond firmly but respectfully, she feels respect for you rise. Emotional leadership strengthens attraction more than any physical trait ever could. And yet, emotional strength must be balanced with humility. A man who thinks he knows everything stops growing. A man who cannot apologize loses respect. A man who cannot admit his flaws never becomes better. But a man who can look at himself honestly, who can confront his weaknesses without shame, becomes a force of nature. Women admire a man who is self-aware because self-awareness is the foundation of maturity. It shows that you are not pretending to be perfect, you are becoming better every day. Another layer of magnetic presence comes from having standards, not selfish demands, but personal standards. The food you eat, the way you groom yourself, the way you speak, the way you treat people, the goals you pursue, the boundaries you enforce. Standards are not about being strict. They are about self-respect. When a man has standards, he doesn't accept disrespect, disloyalty, or inconsistency. He does not tolerate relationships that drain him. He does not let people walk over him. He chooses quality over chaos. And when he does, he becomes a man of value. Value attracts value. A woman can feel your standards without you saying a word. She sees it in how you move, how you speak, how you handle situations. And when she recognizes that you hold yourself to a higher level, she naturally rises to meet you. That is the kind of attraction that builds long-lasting connection, not lust alone, but admiration.